Welcome back. If you just joined us, this is The Press. We're reaching you live from KAFTAN's television studio here in the nation's capital, Abuja. Now we'll go straight to our analyzing the stories that we read out to you earlier. My guest on the show today is Comrade Obande. Obande Gideon Obande. He is president of Ochetoha Kidoma Youth Wing in Benue State. Great to have you on the show again, sir.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, so now our phone lines are open. You can call in to make your contributions or ask your questions. Remember, I said 1 minute to every caller. Remember to turn down the volume of your TV set, move away from it, or turn it off completely. 1 minute to every caller. All right, so let's go straight to the headline for this morning. Quite a number of stories, but before we started, I was just wondering why we have so many deaths. Everybody's decided to scream about the loans that Nigeria is owing. The Punch newspaper says Nigeria servicing 108 World Bank loans worth $14 billion US. And then on the flip side, it says oil companies, agencies owe federal government $9.85 billion US or billion US revenue coming from NATI. And still on debt, you have on the Nation's newspaper says FIRS recovers 4 trillion naira tax liabilities from NNPC. And there's another story I saw with regards to NNPC. Okay, that's on the Guardian newspaper. Says NNPCL fails to remit $6.9 billion US, swap $7.1 billion worth of crude in 1 year. And now I'm asking, when I saw that story, my first question is, if the federal government decides to go under the neck of the former EFCC chairman, if they decide to go and investigate or still investigate the former CBN boss, what's happening with other agencies, departments and organizations, especially NNPC, having this story that they failed to remit $6.9 billion US? Is it cherry picking, like someone called it?
Well, it will be too early to conclude that it's cherry picking. Okay? Why do I say it will be too early to conclude? The government is barely 100 and few days in office.
But 100 days though.
100 and few days in office. And I want to believe that they possibly are taking their time. As you can see in the subjects of appointments and replacement of people, you know, it's coming gradually. So I will not want to conclude that it's cherry picking, but of course it must start somewhere, okay? It must start somewhere.
So you have to start from the EFCC and the CBN boss.
The EFCC, if it started from the CBN boss, the question is, are they guilty of what they have been accused of? Well, the courts will tell us, all right? But for now, let's not conclude it's cherry picking. However, I will say that the NNPC boss should remember that what he was placed in charge of is the only mineral resources at this material time that Nigeria is exploring. And it is our major source of income as a country. And so every single kobo should be accounted for. Not because of any other thing, but because he is a Nigerian and he was put in that position by trust. All right? So he should justify the confidence that was reposed on him to place him there by simply doing the needful. But it is totally unacceptable that you will not talk about over $6 billion US when we are owing in tens of dollars, billions of dollars. Okay? So he should do the needful, tell us or tell Nigerians or remit what he should remit, so that just like President Tinubu came and he started with taking care of some debts that were there, possibly if this one is also accounted for, it can be used to take care of some debts. All right? We are, for now, a consuming economy. So Nigerians shouldn't shout, how are we owing too much? We are producing nothing. We are selling nothing. The crude oil we even have, the only fraction, how many of, after the distillation, less than 2/3 of the total fractions of the crude comes back to us. The others are even unaccounted for. And these others, if we had had our refineries working, okay, they are enough to generate, you know, all the monies we need to clear off some of these debts. But as it stands, it's so unfortunate that we don't even know if they swap for distillation and return and all of that. The other fractions were part of the deal, so that shouldn't come back. We don't even know. Okay, so as it stands now, right, we are orphans in the economy of this world. Unlike other oil nations who are benefiting from everything that, you know, their crude has, because they have refineries. It's so unfortunate.
But then if you say that other countries who are benefiting from the crude that they have, I recall saying same thing, but someone just reminded me, how about Gabon? Their oil it's an oil-rich nation, but if you go back to Gabon, it doesn't look like they're even enjoying
Then I will
the
now
benefits.
tell you that you should go online, go on Google and check the exchange rate of the Gabonese currency and the Nigerian currency. You don't just conclude by the physical view. Your currency tells you how strong your economy is. It's very simple. So go do the comparative analysis between the Nigerian naira and the Gabonese currency. Then you understand what I'm talking about.
All right, let's still stay on the economy.
And don't forget, Gabon is a very small country.
Compared to Nigeria, yeah?
Don't forget.
All right, so let's move and talk about, still on the economy. The Guardian newspaper brought forth the headline right there, says Nigeria bear 1 trillion naira metering burden as CBN and World Bank backpedal. And then you have the picture story that talks about the increase in meter prices between 2013 and 23 rather. In 2013, single phase was sold for 24,000, while the three phase was sold for 53,000. But today, single phase is sold for 81,000, while the three phase is sold for 143,000. And then someone will ask me, why is it always increasing? At some point, they said they were going to give it for free, and then later they had to start paying for it. But then 43,000 to 53,000. That's over 90,000 naira.
Well, I will even want to take you back. Okay. I want to take you back to the single phase, right? You could see the deliberate, extortive expressions of the power sector. The single phase was 24,000. It is now 80-something thousand. All right? Over 200% increment. Okay? Over 200% increment. What do we have? The triple phase or the three phase, okay, which is now what the elites use, just have about 100+ % increment.
All right, just please hold your thoughts. Let's quickly take this call. Hello, good morning. Good morning. Good morning, sir. Tell us your name and where you're calling us from. Collins from Ochetoha, Benue State. Please, you have to be audible so we can hear you. Go ahead. You have 60 seconds.
Let me extend my greetings to my comrade, Gideon.
He can hear you. Go ahead.
Good morning, Annabel. There is one thing I want us to understand, more especially politically. These are democratic regime of a thing. If you happen to see it now, just like the person in question concerning the negotiation, what I need to understand in politics is just the fact that if you commit a sin, like now, you have the ruling party, which is the APC, which I actually believe is my party also. If you commit a crime in PDP now, as APC is ruling, they'll hold you accountable to it. But in time coming, maybe you come to APC, your sins are forgiven. This is very wrong. And we have to correct all these things. If we do not correct it, then we are not going forward. Like if you do it now, Apablo won during his governorship election in Akwa Ibom, won through PDP. When APC came in, he was indicted. I could believe that somebody said he was having about 500 billion in the account. But when this ruling party came in and he camped with APC, which is the ruling party now, there is no news about it again. That is why each time I say, can we get this right? If it happens that we have to get all this thing right, then any person that is indicted in any issue must be treated fairly for the masses to see actually what is happening.
All right.
Look at the prepaid meter now. How many are able to attain it in the house? And there is something very serious that is happening in the in the power sector. Like, if there happens to cut your light, and maybe you are not using that light for even more than 3, 4, 5 months, even a year, they are still bringing bills to you. It happens in my family house. They cut our light, there is nobody there. It was just my dad and my mom then. Nobody was around. They say they should just leave it because of the hike of electricity bills. We left it for more than 2 years. As I'm talking to you now, we just restored it. And the bills accumulated without using that light around 200 and something thousand. Who is to pay that? So there are so many things that all these sectors are indicted to. And people, both the ministers and everybody that are working towards this thing, they have to give an account of exactly what is happening.
All right. Thank you so much, Collins. Thank you for calling. Collins from Otupo, Benue State. Go ahead, please.
All right. So, Mr. Collins had even touched some of the things I was trying to drive at. So, you see, there is a deliberate extortion of the poor masses. All right. That of the elite is, yes, high, but 100 and something %. That of the poor masses, 200 and something %. Okay? What was the rationale? What was the calculation behind the percentage variation? To tell you that it was deliberate, knowing that the average masses may not even have what it takes to go against them. But they are cautious of the truth because the bulk of those who use the truth is elites and can question you. There can even be a boss that will be checkmating your agency. And so they are careful. All right? Now, to worsen it, you get a new meter, in quote. They tell you that the meter already has a debit of 50,000.
Exactly.
To what end? You are not using your lights.
And they
are bringing bills.
Just like Collins just talked about.
From where? These are questions of accountability. What is NEC doing? What is TRCN doing? The Discos and Co. What is their accountability profile?
Are they not the one that are in to make business profit?
You are in to make profit at the detriment of your customers. Is that business or that's theft? That's no business. You're in business for profit, but there's a place for customer satisfaction. And so I'll be calling on Servicom to look into this. I'll be calling on EFCC, ICPC, and other agencies that are interested in ensuring that things are done properly to look into it. The masses are already under pressure. There is no need putting more pressure on ourselves.
Like President Bola Ahmed Tinubu said, don't suffer the poor masses. Allow them to breathe.
Allow them to breathe. I agree with him. Let us breathe. It's important we breathe.
All right.
Life is for the living.
Let's go to other stories. And the Punch newspaper says drama as Obaseki locks out embattled deputy from government house. And then still that same story, I think I also saw it, the picture story on that's on the Nation's newspaper, which says shows Obaseki where he was being locked out by his I beg your pardon, the deputy governor Philip Schreiber was being locked out from his own office yesterday in government house in Benin. And at some point we thought that drama was over. I listened to some time ago I listened to the governor of Edo State, that Godwin Obaseki come out to say that there's no grouse between him and his brother. That's what he called him. So they're working together and there's no issues. At some point, I think I also heard Phillips makes, not, he didn't make same statement, but the body language he was giving was all is well. So what's happening again? Why does it look like this fight will never end?
Well, it's been a recurring desma in the Nigerian political space that most times when you have governors whose deputies are interested in succeeding them, you have this displays.
Just like you have also happening in Ondo State.
You know, so it's been a recurring decimal, all right? You have cases where sometimes they are even impeached from office, just because of this tussle and all of that. But it's not the fault of the governors. For me, it's a constitutional matter, all right?
How so? I
say so because if you look at the Nigerian constitution critically, the deputies, including the vice president, in short, that's why the vice president is even fair because there are specific responsibilities, like being chairman of the Economic Council and all of that allocated to vice presidents. But when you come to that of deputy governors, it's very vague. There are no specific duties like your responsibility as a deputy governor is to oversee this, is to do this, is to do this. So one of the most frustrating offices, as juicy and as glamorous as it may look like, are offices that plays a deputizing role. Vice chairman, deputy governors, those kind of offices, you go to some state houses, you don't get to even see the deputy speaker ever preside over the assembly. You go to the National Assembly, you talk the Senate, you talk the Green Chambers.
Is it a constitutional issue?
Yes, it is. Because when there are no specific responsibilities per an office, okay, the office is more or less redundant. All right? And then you see that weakens the power of the office. So for instance now, assuming the office of the deputy governor had some precise responsibility, the governor knows that not allowing him go into the office is stopping him from doing so. But in this case, there's nothing like that. However, I see it as not right, okay? Mahatma Gandhi says whatever is right, and whatever is wrong, regardless of who is doing it, all right? It is wrong for Obaseki to lock the deputy out because that office is the office of the deputy governor, okay? That place is called the government house, okay? And the ticket of those that go into that place is a joint ticket of the governor and the deputy governor, all right? And so from every standing, they have equal right to the premise, okay? Because without the deputy governor on your ticket, you can't be elected. So what it means is that as much as you may think you are governor, you wouldn't have become governor without him. It's simple. And so this is a matter of mutual respect.
Why does it look like if we are going to have issues, then why did I accept you and then so that we can be partners? It's just like two people agree to marry and then all of a sudden they just become enemies.
This is it. At the time that the going was sweet, okay, we all were singing and rejoicing. Okay, now there is a clash of interest. I want to succeed you, and possibly you have someone you want to succeed you. That's what's playing out here. So now you want to frustrate me so that I don't succeed you, so you can place who you want.
And that's placing who you want, because if I've worked with you, it means that most people will come out to say that why is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu choosing his own guys to become the minister of either coordinating or revenue, or he's just putting his own persons, and then other persons will come out to say if I've worked with him before, it means that I should trust him enough. So why is he not playing that? Why is that same card not playing for the state governors? If you've become my deputy at some point, it means I should be able to trust you. Why do I have to bring someone else to come and because I want to send the card to someone else?
Now I tell you this, we have a very, very, very peculiar leadership problem in Nigeria. All right? Why do I say so? I must give it to the current president, he has grown people. He has grown boys into men. So he knows the capability or capacity of everyone. Unfortunately, 98% of Nigerian leaders are scared of giving younger leaders the opportunity to express themselves in the field of leadership. Now, when they refuse to give you the opportunity and you aspire to do so, they say you are not loyal.
Exactly.
Else, a man who had been with you for 8 years should understand better what your policies were, what your blueprints were, how far you have gone with the blueprint, what the issues were while you were in office and all of that. Well, sometimes some governors still pick from within their cabinet though. But the question is, the person you are picking, as much as you trust the person, does the person have a grasp of the entirety of issues like your deputy should have in an ideal case? Don't forget. In an ideal case. Because some deputies just sit in the office and read newspapers. Why some commissioners or some advisors somewhere represent the governor in all functions, go to all meetings with the governor.
Looks like the see at the particular person.
You hardly see the governors and their deputies go to meetings and attend, but you get to see some advisors, some SAs, some SSAs, some commissioners always with the governor. So in such a case, you agree with me that such a person should know more than the deputy governor. Because maybe out of 10 meetings or 100 meetings in the entire government, he has attended 20. And this person has attended virtually all, let me say 90. Who should have a better grasp? So in that case, yes, the person should, but in the real sense, does it make sense? You don't trust someone and he's your number 2. I mean.
Okay. So let's leave that story and then move straight to other ones. I'm sure you must have seen that video last weekend where the former president, General Olusegun Obasanjo, where he asked the Yoruba monarchs to stand up and greet him. And then some other Yoruba monarchs, a lot of, in fact, not just them, a lot of people have come out to knock him and say, why would he do such, that if he goes to other places, he goes to Benin, he prostrates to greet the Oba, and then but then he's coming down here to ask the monarchs to stand up and greet him. So they saw that as a problem. And then I read yesterday where his wife decided to apologize on his behalf to those Yoruba monarchs, and I read another response coming from former President Obasanjo saying that he disowned his wife for making such move, that it means that she's not loyal. And this morning, the Punch is saying Obasanjo insists on stand-up order to monarchs. Let's get your thoughts in this regard.
Well, I will tell you this without mincing words, okay? There is the law of diminishing returns.
Okay.
Okay? And it's applicable in all spheres of life. Are you getting my point? The man you are talking about is in his 80s, okay? And so there is a biological fact established that as people get older, right, they begin to behave, conform to becoming children.
Okay.
It's a fact. Okay, because dementia, some other issues begin to set in. I put it to you that he is wrong.
Even though he said he is not wrong.
I said he is wrong. I said that because I have seen him when the Olu of Warri, who is a far younger person to most of these monarchs, was crowned Olu of Warri. I saw him went to squat for the Olu of Warri. So on what premise is he saying whatever? What's his justification? Can he come to the north and ask an emir to stand up and greet him? He can't try that. Or will he go to the east and ask an Igwe to stand up and greet him? There's a difference between you are coming in and the person decides out of his volition to stand up and receive you, according you the respect possibly of former president, or feeling that, okay, this person is far older than I am, and so because of that, let me accord him that respect of a statesman and stand up, to receive him to my palace. It's totally different. But for a man who is seated, it's not disrespect that he's seated. The office he occupies demands that he be seated while you stand. It's not about him, it's about the stool. So for a person of his caliber that have held several titles in the Yoruba land and understands purely the Yoruba culture and tradition, it's desecration. And we shouldn't justify it. So he can't justify. I'm not a Yoruba man, okay? But he just desecrated their culture and tradition. I have my culture where I come from, and I can't tell my king to stand up no matter how old I am and how young the king is. It is wrong for you to tell the king to stand up and greet you. As who? If he decides to stand up and receive you, fine. If he doesn't, it's not wrong. I maintain that.
So that part of the Bible that says that an elder or a teacher is not respected in his hometown, do you actually see it play out here? Because like you said, he should know better coming from that. He knows region. Better.
He just spat on his culture as a Yoruba man. I will not align with any defense he has. The wife did a just thing because she has children, and tomorrow the Yoruba people will quote it to that the father was disrespectful, but when that tomorrow now comes, they'll say no, but the mother apologized on behalf of the children of the man. So the children may decide to have the character of the mother. The woman is a wise woman. Oh, I hail her.
Let's take other stories. The Punch newspaper screams federal government NLC meeting deadlocked as workers insist on demand. Government workers must agree on concrete resolutions within remaining days of ultimatum. That's coming from NLC. And then Minister appeals to labor unions to embrace dialogue. Shun strike as deadline ends on Friday. We saw that 2 days warning strike that actually shook. NLC wanted to show, some people would say NLC just wanted to show us that, okay, we still have power. And then that 2 days really shook everyone, especially with regards to electricity. If you have things stored in your fridge, that 2 days, your body will tell you exactly, your pocket will tell you. So do you actually, where do you see this federal government NLC's meeting actually going to?
First and foremost, I want to thank the Joe Ajero-led NLC leadership for bringing the labor back to what we knew the labor for. The leadership before him, sorry to say, messed the integrity and the trust Nigerians have on labor up. However,
are you speaking of the comrade Ayuba Waba?
Oh yes.
Or before then?
That's his predecessor. It's just as clear as that. We used to know the NLC to be a dog that bites, not just barks. They will bark and bite you. That's what we knew NLC for. And I want to believe that that was what the Joe Ajero-led leadership, decided to do with the 2 days warning strike. That we will bark and we will bite. I say that because some persons were already feeling that they will go for that negotiation and the warning strike won't hold. Because that used to be the norm, okay, under the previous leadership. And so Joe Ajero was trying to prove a point, and no, this is a different leadership. We will back and bite. They did back and did bite. They were not trying to show us they have power. They were trying to help us. Help us because they were waking up our consciousness as a people. That we should not just take anything that comes. I want to thank him. However, I want to remind them that the bulk of the issues we have were not all created by this government. some of it were inherited. Okay? And of course, some of it are products of the removal of the fuel subsidy. No doubt. But I want to appeal to both sides to shift ground. Both sides, not NLC. Both NLC and the federal government.
Okay.
Okay? Federal government, tell NLC what you can do. Federal government, what you have told NLC that you will do and you have not done, go and do it. That is how it works. NLC, your conditions are good, they are promises. But hey, in trying to achieve these conditions, you must not kill the masses. Because when the strikes come, the masses feel the brunt more than the government. Okay? So we must balance it so that the masses don't suffer at the end of the day.
Okay. Now, I'm going to ask you 2 questions before we leave this story.
Okay.
And I'd like you to unbundle them in one breath. Now, we saw that, like, at some point, it was as if there was some rancor between the TUC and the NLC. Like the NLC was going one way and then the TUC was taking the other way. So what exactly do you actually think that one is saying, yes, we no go grill, singing the solidarity song, while the other one is going the other way and then trying to negotiate and do their own thing? That's one on the side. And secondly, I hear you say that the NLC, the current leadership of the NLC is a dog that can bark and bite at the same time. But then I also recall the last time I had this conversation with you where we talked about the NLC, where we talked about the trade union, and then you reminded us where was the trade union and leadership during the cash redesign policy. You reminded us where was the trade union during the ASU strike and all. That why are they coming out to come and back when they are not supposed to be backing? It looks as if there is some underground movements going on.
Yes.
Well, let's get your word on that then.
I tell you clearly, okay? Your first question, I'll take you on. When government tries to negotiate with NLC, which is the apex leadership of all labor organizations in Nigeria. The NLC is apex. TUC is there, NUP is there, NMA is there. The TUC is like NMA. They don't have any special status. They are like every other affiliate union. They are like NANS.
That's the Trade Union Congress though.
Hello. I said they are like NANS because may I remind you that NANS used to be known as NONS. National Union of Nigerian Students before it was prescribed. So they are an affiliate union. There's nothing special about them. They don't have the legitimacy to go and negotiate for Nigerian labor organizations.
Are they not negotiating for their trade?
May I remind you that the Trade Union Congress is an affiliate member of the NLC, Nigerian Labour Congress. TUC is under. So when you try to usurp authority because you have been compromised,
are you directly accusing them of
I am directly accusing them that if NLC backs out of a negotiation, TUC lacks the legitimacy to go and negotiate.
So are you saying that TUC has been compromised?
I am saying that if TUC has not been compromised, then the leadership of TUC are inviting the establishment to come and negotiate with them, to compromise the struggle and to victimize the poor masses. I stand on that. However, I talked about the TUC, NLC and all them because the right thing must be done at the right time. Okay? As NLC said they should go on strike, I remember that ASU joined. Electricity joined. That's why we didn't have light.
Even banks
joined. So we expect that when ASU have issues, and these issues borders on the children of everybody, every Nigerian, we should see that degree of solidarity, because without education, a nation is nothing. That's why I made that statement. We expected this kind of solidarity. If electricity went off, banks shut down because ASU made a demand and it affects everybody's child, and because of that they wanted it done, government would have worked faster on it. And so I'm saying that there should be more cohesion, there should be more synergy, which I do not doubt will happen under the Joe Ajero-led leadership. Where people like Comrade Toro, who is his secretary, I knew Comrade Toro decades ago, and I know that he's a radical. So I have no fear that this NLC-led leadership will bring the desired synergy among the labor unions. But my appeal to them is, remember that primarily you are fighting for the masses. And so you must not take your decisions to the extreme or your resilience to the extreme, because the same masses will bear the brunt. And so both government and NLC should get to the point where they will shift grounds so that Nigeria will keep moving.
All right, let's quickly take this one call before we go ahead. Hello, good morning. Good morning. Tell us your name and where you're calling us from. Why do I feel like that's Collins from Otupu? Go ahead.
Hello?
Go ahead. Go ahead. Collins from Otupu, Benue State.
You know what? I don't believe that there is anything like labor any longer. We happen to have labor president during the time of Oshomole. This present labor president, Joe Ajero, nothing good will come out. Nothing. Absolute nothing will come out good. So about the strike issue of a thing, let's just forget about it. There is nothing that will come out of it.
All right.
Because what? Upon all this issue going around, now they are telling the poor masses to hold their belt. If you want all these things to subside, let's start from the top. How many ministers do we have? Right from 99, now we are having about 48. They are increasing everything, both the advisors, both the this, both the PA, both the that. All these things involve money. How much are they paying the lecturers? How much are they paying the teachers? How much are they paying all these civil servants? Look at the reports money that they just share for this year, which gods just push it out of the mouth of Akpabio.
All right.
I think that the masses are not watching. There is nothing good that will come out. Let's just forget about it.
Thank you so much.
Forget about it.
Collins from Otupu State. It's Otupu Benue. Your contribution has been taken. Let's leave NLC story and then anchor on the death of Mohbad and how much it has been shrouded in so much controversy, so much secrecy, and then a lot of videos keep coming up indicting and calling on so many names. The Nigerian police force has been tagged, a certain Sam Larry has been tagged, Naira Marley has been tagged, even the governor of Lagos State has been called upon, the former one has been called upon, a lot of the Oba of Elegushi has been called upon, a lot of names have been called out. And let's get your thoughts in this regard first, because sometimes I think whenever I'm talking about it I get so emotional.
Well, I want to condole with the family of Mohbad for the loss, but more importantly, condone with Nigerian youths for the loss of Mohbad, because the death of Mohbad has been felt more by the Nigerian youth population than anyone. And you could see that from the reactionaries, you know, you see on the social platforms and all. And I've met a lot of young people that talk about it and get emotional. Let me reduce it by saying I've come across Malians, you know, just to be this with Malians. I've come across some people who said they are Malians, but still are very bitter about the death of Mohbad.
So are you saying that Malians are not supposed to be bitter about it?
No, I'm trying to show you how much the empathy on the subject of Mohbad is. Okay, unfortunately, I am one of those Nigerian young people that did not know him until he died. But
A
I
lot
knew
of
a lot
people
of his
his
songs.
exactly.
You know,
Most people could not put a face to those songs.
to the songs
until
his death. And then I mean to say, oh wow. So why would they just bury this guy like a chicken? I am one of those who, even before things started coming out, when I saw it on social media that he passed on, the next thing I saw he was buried, the first question I asked, sorry to say, was he a Muslim?
Most definitely. That's the same
That's
question
the
I
first
asked.
question I asked. Because I know that according to Islamic rites, of course, he should be buried at that pace, okay? But I started hearing that he is not. I don't know how true that is, because you know you read all sorts on media. Some people said he goes to select
His father is a
this
pastor.
cherubim and seraphim. His father is a pastor, and I'm like, whoa! If he is not a Muslim and he was buried in this haste, then I think somebody or some people are trying to cover something. And then I saw gory pictures of how he was squeezed into a coffin. And then after that, I started watching videos of his direct statements, you know, name calling and all of that. And I'm like, whoa, this degree of bullying and dehumanization was going on. No wonder the young man died the way he died.
At such a tender age, 27.
He was stomaching too much. Now my question is, what was that he was so scared of that stopped him from talking? I think it's time for a proper check to be done in the Nigerian entertainment industry. We need to really know what's going on. We really need to know.
And the fact that you have a lot of big wigs not even saying anything in this regard, a lot of people say, because that's the same thing they do. When you go sign a contract, it looks like, is this cultism or drug that they are going to sign into? So many of them are not talking. But now you have, the police have set up a special investigation team. I hear Omoyele Sowore says, if you think that anything will come out of it, then you must be a joker of the century. Do you agree?
You know, I wouldn't blame him for saying that. I wouldn't blame him. I say that because in time past, a lot of serious allegations had gone, special police committees set up, and we did see result. However, I believe that this is a new IGP. In recent times, we've seen a lot of actions taken on different police personnel for different misconduct in recent times, okay? And so I want to believe that the Nigerian police force have woken up, okay, to responsibility, and Nigerians are watching keenly. I am part of the Nigerians that is very interested in what the outcome will be, because the young man was making a confessional statement on bed and calling names. It shouldn't be taken for granted.
So I hear you say that the Nigerian police, they've actually carried out disciplinary measures with regards to those who they see online. But if you recall, the I think it was the SP Benjamin Hundeyin. Okay, no, it was the PPRO of Delta State, that's Edafe, who came out to say that Twitter is not police station. Twitter is not police station. So if there's a complaint, then it should be sent to the police, even though they've now sent the complaints down to the police. But then you recall what happened with Sheon Kuti when he was harassing, or said to be harassing, a particular police officer. From that online, that was where they started the investigation. So why all of a sudden it comes to this and then Twitter is not police station? Is this, I'll ask again, is this cherry picking?
Of course. I will tell you this, okay? I'll tell you this. The Delta issue I mentioned, I want to believe was related to the mass arrest and whatever that happened there. Was it that same case?
No, this particular one. He said, yes, Twitter is not police station.
Okay, well, I will want to say, okay, that the person, that PPRO, should be removed from that office for a start. Because as a public relation officer, he should have known better that the social media is next after the court. The Rivers police people who manhandled the young man, where did the evidence come from? The trending video. The policemen in that were following one musician in the north who was giving the kind were shooting that action was taken was from where? Sheon Kuti was from where? He should wake up and stop allowing his uniform deceive him. He's just lucky that now Nigerian youths have a lot of things that is worrying them. If not, if they drag him, they'll remove him from that office and post him to one village. The media is the fourth tier of government. They tell you what you don't know and what you may never know. And so a good policing says, with whatever information you get, however you get it, you turn it, investigate it, pull out the substances from it, and put it to use. That is good policing. From that his statement, he's not a good police officer.
All right, let's quickly take this call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Tell us your name and where you're calling us from very quickly.
Okay, I understand. I came from Lagos.
All right, I came from Lagos. Great to hear from you. Go
ahead, please. I want to comment on that Mohbad issue.
Please do.
You see, I want to be very, very careful in my comment as well. But it's very, very scary. You understand? From things that we see online and the way it happens, you understand? There are obvious things from the mentioning of NDLEA that gave him water. At least it's an institution of government. They should come out and clear to us what is the kind of water given to him, whether true or false. You understand? And I learned that he wrote a petition to the Nigerian police.
Yes.
Nothing was done. These things, needed to be investigated. I'm so scared of even measuring certain things because I don't even know the kind of country we are. Okay, for example now, how I wish Chief Gani Fawani were to be alive. Because this poor young man will have an angel to stand for him. God bless Nigeria anyway. We are in need. But this thing is fishy. That's just it. God save us.
All right. Thank you so much, Akin from Lagos. Great to hear from you. All right. So at this point, I think we should just move to our social media trends. Thank you so much. That's where we end that segment as we go to social media trends. And everywhere on social media, it is #justice for Mohbad. In fact, you want to search for one thing, the next thing you see is Mohbad's story. So there's this particular video coming from ID Kabasa, who is also a director, a music producer, director. He's making a statement with regards to Zinoliski. Let's see that one, and then we'll come to take other stories.
He said the bought for the other guy, the house, the cars were not in that boy's name. Omo, that is wickedness of the highest order. How long are we going to be here for? That will be treating other human being, that will be treating a fellow human being, that will be treating fellow human being alone, like they are mad, like it's madness, it's wickedness. Their minds are twisted. Their mind is totally twisted, as in is wrinkled. Because the idea of all of these things is for him to have the soul behind it, is for me as a record label owner to know that yes, I'm going to make money from this thing, but I should also remember that this guy that I'm going to work with is also human. It needs a life. I have worked with a whole lot of artists, not all of them bleed. And till date, even the ones that bleed.
I will back Nigerian police with prayers. The mountains are there. I will climb mountain because of this case. Yes, sir. The baby is there. Don't worry. After here, I'm going to reach out to the family.
Maya, who is known to always speak.
Now, of Inspector General in Jesus' name. Amen. God bless you all in Jesus' name.
Thank you, Prophet.
Prophet Jeremiah, in his kind gesture, promised to support the wife and the baby of the late Nigerian rapper, Mohbad, through his...
All right, so, Comrade Obande Gideon, in one word, do you see justice? Because I see hashtag justice for Mohbad. Do you see this happening? I
am one of those who are trending the hashtag justice for Mohbad. We want the justice. We will continue to, and I'm optimistic that the current IGP will give us that justice.
Great.
Because very soon, if we don't see it, we'll also enter the street. That's the language they understand.
Thank you so much, Comrades Obande Gideon Obande, President Ochetoha Kidoma, Youth Wing in Benue State. It's always a pleasure having these talks with you.
Thank you very much.
All right, viewers, that's where we end this segment of the press today. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's been a wonderful time. I will see you next time. My name is Annabel Orji. Stay safe and have a wonderful day. Good morning, Nigerians.